this start with the baseline, which is where do most sellers go wrong with their images and A plus content? How do you see that? What seller do a biggest misconception for creating their A plus content or listing images?
The biggest one is probably they make it hard to process the information on the design or on the page. So a really simple example of this is just the text size is too small. And there are rules of thumb for that now as well. There was a brilliant Cambridge/Unilever study which was done many years ago where they've set ground rules that you should basically be following if you're thinking about your hero image. And one of those would be rather than thinking about a minimum pixel size, pixels obviously change based on the font that's being used. So you could have a really small font, and if you select 30 pixels as your minimum heading 1, and then you've got a really big font, and the actual size of the text on the design is going to be different. So we can't use pixels. You should be looking at something as what's the percentage height. So if we've got 1000 by 1000 as a main image, for argument's sake, a simple rule of thumb would be your heading, your main piece of text on that has to be a minimum of 8.5% of the height of the page. So roughly in that case, 85 pixels in height. If you're using the 1000 by 1000 dimensions. So that's probably the biggest piece of we just want it to be easy to consume and process the information on the page. And people have a habit of just massively overlooking that. And the simple rule of thumb I think of is when we're driving a car down the road and there are road signs, you're going 100 kilometers an hour. They know when they've built that road that you're going 100 kilometers an hour. They don't put really tiny text, which is hard to read. And that is the exact same premise. We're trying to put just the information the person needs to make a decision and give that to them in the most easy to make it as easy to consume as possible. That applies with icons, that applies with images, that applies with text, but mostly text of what is that detail in there and how readable is it.